we will go ahead and get started. So today, these are our objectives. So state the 10 American Heart Association recommendations for nutrition and diet to improve cardiovascular or heart health. Name one of the 5 subcategories of vegetables, cite a benefit of whole grains. And I'm gonna kind of put you all on the spot today and be asked you all for a SMART goal. So don't just sit back and listen, be thinking about a goal I'm going to ask you all to report on. So far we have 107 of you. So everybody's not going to be able to share that, but share that SMART goal with somebody else. And we'll talk about this at the end too. So this is the, I've got to move y'all's pictures. So the 2021 American Heart Association Diet Guidance to Improve Cardiovascular Health. So this was a peer-reviewed study or recommendation that was published from the American Heart Association. So there's 10 of these guidelines, and we're going to list all 10 first, and then we're going to go into detail with all of them. So number 1 is balance activity and what you consume to get to a healthy weight. And we'll talk about what that is. Plenty of fruits and vegetables, and I underline that. As registered dietitians, that's something we often promote, and really we all should promote to much more often. Choose whole grains, healthy proteins, and then using liquid plant oils over animal fats and tropical oils. Have minimally processed foods over ultra processed foods. And that has the little star on it. That's the terminology from the American Heart Association. And then this terminology down here is what was part of that. So some of you may not realize, we've probably all heard that term, processed foods. We're going to talk about that more so later. But there is no commonly accepted definition for what is a processed food. And some healthy foods are processed too, so we'll talk about that more. Minimizing sugars and salt, limiting alcohol, and then my favorite, which is adhere to this guidance regardless of where food is prepared or consumed. So really trying to be healthy, even if it's a celebration, a holiday, a workplace, a party, etc. So we'll go into detail with all of these now. So first is balance intake for a healthy weight. So balance intake and activity. So this is the 2020, I believe it is, Alabama BMI or body mass index categories. So BMI does have some shortcomings, many of y'all have heard, but generally it's still what we use for ideal weight for people. So this is for Alabama, and we follow most of the country too. But you can kind of see there are a small number of people that are underweight in our state, not many of them, only about 2% of the people. That was 71. If you go back and look at the number of people they talked to, it was 71 people that were underweight. 25% are at what's called a normal BMI. But if you look at the BMI above 30 and then the BMI 25 to 29.9, basically normal in our state and copies in our country is overweight. So 39 plus 34 is 73% of the US is overweight or obese. So the norm is really not healthy BMI. So this green section, you can kind of see over the years kind of the percentage of normal people, or what's called a healthy BMI, I guess, has kind of gone down, and then from 2019 to 2020 it went down. I think they did the survey, it was a phone-based survey where they called people and asked them how much they weigh. So again, most people overestimate their height and then underestimate their weight. So kind of think about here in Alabama, we have to provide our, for our driver's licenses, we have to provide height and weight. So think about how accurate your numbers are, and then whatever, you know, if it was accurate, you're probably a small minority. So basically the norm is overweight. So, but just trying to balance intake to get toward a healthier weight. So if you're, you know, you have many pounds to lose, just get toward that green section. You know, if you have many pounds to lose, 5% of current weight loss does offer significant health benefits. a variety of fruits and vegetables, and many fruits and vegetables. So the guidelines for adults, for national guidelines, for the dietary guidelines, is about 3.5 to 5 cups of fruits and vegetables daily. So most of us don't need that. Well, and I'll show you numbers for that in a minute. But vegetables, there's 5 subcategories of vegetables. So dark green and red and orange, you know, these have a lot of nutrients in them. Most of us probably know that. Usually the brighter, the better, the more nutrients, but, you know, cauliflower and bananas still have a place in a healthy way of eating. Beans and peas, really good source of fiber and lots of nutrients. Starchy, you can't see this picture very well, and I apologize for that, but I liked it because it had all the categories and the foods, some of the foods that fit under them. But starchy corn, green peas or sweet peas, and potatoes are considered starchy. So a lot of people, these are the only vegetables they eat, but if you can just try to have one more from a different category some days, that would be good. And then other is everything else. You can see some of the many nutrients all the veggies have for you: vitamin A, C, fiber, folate, potassium, all kinds of benefits too. Some of them have the B vitamins. So there's tremendous benefit if you don't do anything else to be healthy with what you're eating. Just try to get more vegetables and fruits. So this is, again, so 2019, this is based on self-report too. So the median daily frequency of fruits and vegetables here in Alabama, we have about 1 fruit a day and 1.6 vegetables, okay, on average, okay. So we have, that's about 1.5 cups a day out of that 3.5 to 5 cups is recommended. So we have some work to do. And as we always say here in Alabama, you know, we always say, thank goodness for Mississippi, because they're usually worse than us. And in this case, they are a little worse too. Tennessee's doing a little better than us. So on vegetables, West Virginia is a little better, and then Louisiana. And I put all these here because these are, if you look at maps of obesity, chronic disease, things such as that, these are many of the states that are oftentimes kind of down near the bottom on many of these health indicators too. So fruits and vegetables. So this is a policy statement from the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly, as the CDC report comes out, but that was where the reporting on the fruits and vegetables came from. But the American Heart Association statement says policies and programs to increase fruit and vegetable access may increase consumption and improve health. So think about things you can kind of advocate for yourself, just as a citizen, as a UAB employee or family member, kind of things you can advocate to. So what kinds of things can you advocate in your school, in your community, in your apartment, in your housing development, in your workplace, things like that. So, you know, trying to always have a fruit or vegetable available is one step we can all take to improve that. Next is whole grains. So choose whole grains. So many of you have probably heard that before, but what does that mean? So basically, whole grains are less processed. They have more nutrients. They haven't been stripped of as many nutrients. They oftentimes have more fiber. And this is an infographic from the American Institute for Cancer Research. It's a really great group. You can follow too, a lot of good evidence-based information from it. But many of the nutrients from the whole grains are listed here: vitamin E, zinc, selenium, copper, starch, antioxidants, lignans, or a type of fiber. So whole grains not only reduces your heart disease risk or improves heart disease if you do have it, but also reduces your risk of many types of cancers. And again, still on the very top of this infographic, it shows more fruits and vegetables too. So whole grains, brown rice, wild rice, okay? So try doing those things. Whole grain noodles, popcorn's a whole grain, quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, wheat, oat bran types of cereals, those kinds of things too. So try some of those too. The Heart Association guideline says choose whole grains, period. the U.S. dietary guidelines recommend at least half your grains whole grain. So, baby steps. So if you don't use any of these things, so just, try one more this week. So try some brown rice mixed with some white rice, or try some popcorn instead of some chips to get you some fiber, things like that too. And then healthy proteins. So plant proteins were recommended. So natural sources of protein. So beans and peas, of course, are a good source. Lentils, and then this is hummus. This is a picture of hummus. And that's a very attractive meal. Remember, one of the goals was to make these healthier choices regardless of where you are. So that would be if you went to a party and brought that item, that dish, that would be pretty well received by most people. Nuts and nut butters like peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, etc., are a good source of proteins. Tofu and tempeh or some other soy products too. Seafood. So this is an acronym. If y'all heard me speak last year for Heart Month, we talked about the SMASH-T acronym. So salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardines, herring, halibut, and trout or tuna. So these are mostly freshwater seafood choices that are pretty high in omega-3. But really, if you don't like any of these, just any kind of seafood too. So many healthcare professionals I hear all the time, they say, eat salmon. And that's great. It is very good for you. It's a rich in omega-3, but personally, I don't like salmon, but I do like sardines. So a lot of people here in Alabama do eat sardines. So try, some other things too. Or really any kind of seafood, as long as you're not allergic. So even the shellfish is good now. So shrimp, crab, lobster, etc. too. And then again, healthy proteins. So dairy, so milk, yogurt, cheese, choose low fat or fat free. So this is the Heart Association guideline too. And just as a side commentary from myself, Barbara Roberts, I do try to keep up with the information for this. But over the past 10 years or so, there's a lot of good data coming out showing that the high fat dairy, such as cheese and milk and yogurt, even the premium or the fattier kind, probably doesn't raise our risk for heart disease. But the American Heart Association is still recommending low fat or fat-free dairy. However, if you think this recommendation, me saying this, gives you free reign to go out and eat premium ice cream every night and you gain 10 pounds when you shouldn't be gaining weight, that does increase your risk for heart disease as well as many other conditions. So just, be sensible about that. Poultry, seafood and poultry, if you do consume meats, are the leaner ones. So poultry is chicken, turkey, duck, I guess, too. And then meats. If you do choose meats, try to choose leaner cuts. So this is a picture of red beef, and I can tell it's lean because it's very red. So you can look at a meat and tell if it's fatty based on if it's more pink or more red. So this is a cut of beef that's pretty lean. If you put a T-bone steak next to it, the T-bone would have fat marbling through it and it would be more pink. But again, still limit the red meat, American Heart Association recommends. Again, limit the processed meat. And again, that processed term too, there's no real definition for processed. If I asked all of you, you'd all probably come up with a different definition. There's 122 of you now, so we don't have time to ask you. But processed meats, ham, sausage, bacon, hot dogs, cold cuts. So even if you get the turkey sausage or the turkey bacon, that's probably a better choice, but it's still considered processed. It has those nitrates and nitrites, which oftentimes indicate these foods have more sodium, and then it can increase your risk for heart disease, stroke, and cancers. And Vienna sausages, a lot of us in Alabama eat those, and then Spam, the canned meat, and then the potted meat and the deviled meat. Like I always say, the go to church or go to the devil guy from Montgomery, from that sign. So, be careful with those meats. So just, moderation. If you really love those things, just try to eat them a little bit less. And then this is the other thing. So use liquid oils in place of solid animal fats and tropical oils. So these are some pictures of some heart healthy fats. So nuts, any kind of nuts, that salmon's there again, the peanut butter or any kind of nut butter, olives and olive oil. Olives tend to have a lot of sodium, so just be cautious with that. Avocados, the heart healthy fat, and then there's some seeds there too. So the liquid oils, scientifically, that's how the fats are classified as. So, so the liquid oils usually are what we call poly or mono unsaturated fats. And then the solid fats, things that are solid at room temperature, are things like butter or lard, or if you're old enough to remember Crisco, sometimes something like in a big tub of lard that would sit on the counter, sometimes too. Those things that are the solid animal fats are not so heart healthy for us. And then tropical oils, palm kernel oil, coconut oil. I see coconut oil in a lot of things. Coconut is solid at room temperature, so it is the one exception to the saturated fat. Usually saturated fat, we say everything from an animal. So, so fattier meats will have more saturated fat, but coconut oil is solid at room temperature and it has a lot of saturated fat. So it's not necessarily a healthier choice. Even though it's a plant, it grows on a tree, it is not a healthier choice. So olive, canola oil, peanut oil, and then nut oils. I'm seeing a lot more walnut oil, almond oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, what's grapeseed oil, avocado oil, things like that too. So try and experiment with some of those too. Remember, these are pure fat. So if you are trying to watch your weight, just be careful of those. There is a lot of good data though, showing that people that consume a little bit of these heart healthy fats every day do tend to be more successful health-wise. And even if you're trying to lose weight, consuming some of these every day does help facilitate weight loss as well too. So bottom line, seafood, if you use oil, olive, canola, snack on nuts instead of chips, or put some nuts in your salad. And then again, one of the American Heart Association guidelines is choose the minimally processed foods. So ideally fresh things is best. Sometimes, you know, everybody's busy. We get that. So everybody's busy and that's okay. You're not a bad person if you have to eat fast food sometimes, okay? But ideally try to get more, you know, whole foods as much as you can. So fresh produce is best, okay? You know, if you've ever been in a grocery store, think about the produce section. Any store or supermarket, grocery store you go into, the produce section is one of the largest sections. So there's a reason for that. You should buy a lot of your items from there, okay? The farmers markets are great and they're better if you have access to them and you can get to them. And that's fantastic if you can. Some of us are busy. We don't have time for that. We can't get to wherever the farmers market is. So any kind of produce, fresh is best, but frozen and canned are okay too. Whole grains with less salt. So get the light salt popcorn, and then whole grain breads. So whole wheat breads, fresh seafood and fresh poultry. Okay. So not smoked chicken or smoked turkey unless you smoke it yourself. And then whole nuts and seeds. So not the sugary sweetened nuts. You can buy it, you know, festivals and stuff ideally, but those would probably be a better choice than some other things. But whole nuts and seeds, and again, many of these items, if you are traveling for spring break next month too, these are things that you can keep in your car or on a for the airplane carry-on bag, things like that. There's always options there too. So minimally processed foods. So always kind of play devil's advocate with people and say, if you walk in a grocery store, everything had to get processed to even get to the produce section. So what is minimally processed foods? So ideally whole, basically, you know, but, you know, just do what you can, more fruits and vegetables and whole grains, ideally. So, and then little to no salt. So this is a corny joke. My son wants to be a cop or a policeman. So I've saved this. I sent it to him several months ago and I thought it was cute. And so I'm sharing it with y'all. So sorry, y'all are putting up with my corny joke. But it's the element copper saying, I'm taking the two of you in for a salt. Get it? It's sodium chloride is the element table salt. And they look back at copper and say, you'll never catch us alive, copper. So I just think that's cute. So, but anyway, so little to no salt. So 2,000 milligrams a day, excuse me, is a good limit. That sounds like a lot, but that's very hard to do if you've ever counted up the sodium in what you eat. So generally, we recommend around 500 to 700 milligrams of sodium per meal and about 200 per snack. If you use any salt at all, okay, you're probably getting way too much sodium. So too much salt's not good for us. The RDA is only 500 milligrams of sodium. So if you eat anything, you're probably meeting your recommendation for sodium. If you work outside and you're sweating a whole lot, maybe you're going to compete in the World Games coming up, you might need to work on getting more sodium, but generally that category doesn't fit many of us. Even if your blood pressure is good, too much salt isn't good for you. So it can lead to swelling, heart disease, stroke, and cause all kinds of other issues too. So salt is a preservative. So a lot of restaurant foods use a lot of sodium, a lot of instant type foods. So the idea, if you use less processed foods, you're probably getting less sodium as well too. And then minimize, so I italicize that. So minimize added sugars in food and drink that you consume. So now in the nutrition facts label, there's a section for added sugars. So I challenge you all to look at that next time you're in a grocery store or somewhere, you pick up something to eat or drink. Look at the added sugars in grams, okay? So this is an infographic. This is several years old, but I liked it too because it shows sugar sweetened beverages do contribute to weight gain. It's well supported research shows that, which does lead to being overweight and obese. So again, most of us are overweight. If we become more overweight, it can increase our risk for other diseases. And that increases your risk for diet-related non-communicable diseases. So that's, again, heart disease is number one. Cancer is number two. Many types of cancers are related to nutrition. Stroke is number three. Diabetes is in there. Kidney disease is in there. And of course, COVID's in there now too. It's probably, I'm not sure where COVID fits now. But so sugar sweetened beverages, work on decreasing them, okay? And just minimize. So if if sweet tea is your favorite thing in the whole wide world, just have one less sweet tea this week, could be your smarter goal too. So think of ways to decrease those sugar sweetened beverages, okay? Next time you have a party, don't have sweet tea, have water, okay? And that's it too. So those would be, think of some other things you can do as part of just a community member, whatever your community is. If you choose to drink alcohol, limit the intake. And if you don't drink alcohol, don't start, is the Heart Association guideline. So any amount of intake does increase your risk of many types of cancers, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and many other types of cancers. So you kind of sometimes need to weigh your risk. If you do choose to drink alcohol in moderation, just make sure and know your family history and or personal history too. Alcohol is a source of what we call empty calories. So not any nutrition benefit. We just like the taste or flavor or whatever of it. So if you're trying to, watch your weight, just be careful. Don't cut out a fruit or vegetable so you can have more alcohol ideally. So a serving is a 12-ounce beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of spirits or liquor, okay? I don't think the Heart Association had guidelines. The dietary guidelines still, I think, recommend up to 2 a day for men and up to 1 a day for ladies. That has become quite controversial this year, saying that maybe we need to take it down a little further. Again, many types of cancers are associated with risk of alcohol. Again, a lot of us have supersized our alcohol intake too. So if you do consume an alcoholic beverage, sometimes just remember what the portion is. 1.5 ounces of spirits and liquor. So if you make it a double, that's 2 servings. Okay. So just be careful of portion control with that as well too. And then this is the final guideline. We're not done yet. I'm going to go over some other things too, but adhere to this guidance regardless of where food is prepared or consumed. Okay. So this is a picture of a group of people, obviously pre-COVID, and it looks like they're in a workplace, but this could be really anywhere. This could be some of us even. But I just like to highlight that they're eating healthy foods, fruits and vegetables. Okay, there might be a cake or something over here. I don't know, but you can see they're all smiling because they got their picture taken. But ideally, we want you to try to set an example like these individuals did. Okay, this is a charcuterie board. Those are the trendy thing now too. So this is very attractive, just like most of those charcuterie boards. It's got a lot of fruits and vegetables on it. So I challenge you next time you're bringing something to a party, a get together, of course, as long as it's safe with COVID and we've been released to get together in groups again, make sure and try to ideally have a fruit or vegetable too. And again, these are, these bright colors make it very attractive. The Heart Association guidelines didn't really talk about chocolate. There's some chocolate on there too. And many of you have heard probably the dark chocolate, a little bit okay for a portion, but just moderation there. Okay. Just some other pictures of healthy foods. And then this is just a picture of excuse me. I found this picture several years ago. It's kind of a take on a fast food meal, but it just kind of shows you it's a fruit. If you can't see it, it's a sandwich made out of an apple, pineapple, kiwi, banana slices, and then apple slices cut to look like French fries. So it's very cute and attractive and stuff too. So think about next time you're somewhere, you're bringing something, maybe pre-COVID. Think of being invited to a party, a get together, a potluck, etc. What was it that you brought? Did you always say who's going to bring chips, who's going to bring candy, who's going to bring cake? Kind of change your thinking to start thinking, okay, who's going to bring, if you want chips, maybe just have one type of chips and then have some different fruits or vegetables too. Kind of challenge yourself to change around a little bit. And then this is the summary. The picture is kind of blurry there too, but you can kind of see this is again from that American Heart Association guideline. Emphasize, and that as dietitians, we're trying to get more toward emphasizing and less of no, don't do this, don't do that, but being more positive, which is of course always beneficial. We always want you to eat more fruits and vegetables. Okay, for almost any condition, that's going to be beneficial. Weight loss, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Fruits and vegetables are the answer. Okay, and fruits too. Okay, there's nothing wrong with grapes or bananas. I'd much rather you eat grapes or bananas any day. Whole grains. Okay, healthy protein, seafood, beans, nuts, low-fat dairy, liquid plant oils. Okay, and minimize added sugars, processed meats, too much salt, alcoholic beverages, and then tropical oils. And then again, adjust your energy intake. So calories are energy. Adjust your intake to maintain a healthy body weight or get toward a healthier weight. Okay. So just losing 2 pounds or even maybe just staying where you are for the next 10 years without gaining weight like many of us do over the years could be good. And again, follow that guidance regardless of where food is prepared or consumed. That's the 3rd time y'all have heard me say that. I hope that sticks with all of us. So this is a study about physical activity. So if we're going to talk about heart health, we need to talk about nutrition plus exercise. So this is a study that was just recently published last month, but it's based on NHANES data, but they had people wear what they call an accelerometer, which is a contraption that measures physical activity. So from 2003, What they did is they looked at how many people died based on how active they were, based on this measure of wearing that accelerometer for, I think it was 3 days or a week. I don't remember which. But MVPA stands for moderate or vigorous physical activity among adults. So what they found was about 10% of deaths, or 100,000. No, excuse me. Let me start over. 10 minutes of moderate or vigorous physical activity could prevent about 100,000 deaths. Okay, doubling it to 20 minutes, up to 200,000 deaths, and then 30 minutes, almost 300,000 people. So basically, just moving for 10 more minutes a day might keep you from dying as soon. So, and if you're like me, I have a teenage son, and I keep telling him I want to live to be 100 just so I can drive him nuts, and his future kids and grandkids too. So try to think of ways we can all, be healthy. And not only, I don't want to just live to be 100, I want to be healthy 100 too. So this is one of those Venn diagrams too, but think about this for changing habits, and not just for health, but really in all things too. But changing habits. This could be if you want to quit smoking, if you want to change that eating patterns, if you want to be more active, those kinds of things too. So unlearning. So think about this next time a new initiative comes out here at work where we need to change something. We have to unlearn what we've done. We have to accept the change, and then we have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable for a little while till it becomes the norm. Okay. So unlearn, whatever the old thing is, accept the new thing, and just be comfort in being uncomfortable. So basically that's this final one. So kind of being uncomfortable for a little while and then getting to that place of change too. So just kind of think about that too. Change is hard. Food is very personal, and I get that, but just, keep doing the best you can. So these are some smarter goals, and Riley will have this presentation available for y'all to look at later too. But smarter goals. So this is a smarter goal. And if some of y'all want to share yours, you're welcome to, if we have time. But so whenever you set a goal, in this case, nutrition, physical activity, lifestyle, or even personal, going back to school, cleaning out the garage. So think of something specific. So weight loss isn't specific. Specific could be eat one more fruit or vegetable one day. It's measurable. One day, one fruit. Action, it's eating one fruit. Realistic, okay? Can you go to the grocery store and get some fruits and vegetables? It's time-based, one day this week. And then exciting, ideally means something you want to do or you can do, okay? So we all have people pointing fingers at us and saying we should or we need to and blah, blah, blah. But ideally, try to think of something you want to do. And then plan for a reward. So 2 weeks later, reward yourself with it after doing it for 2 weeks, okay? Drink one less sugar-sweetened beverage one day this week. Walk 10 minutes one day this week. So I want you to set a goal. Today is Thursday. So mid-March, if you do one of these for one day for the next 2 weeks, I want you to call me or email me and tell me what you did and tell me what your reward is, okay? So new shoes, new book, new outfit, vacation, or whatever else your new reward is. Ideally non-food rewards. So this is our myself and our team. So Mariah, Allison, or the other diabetes educator, registered dietitians. And then Precious Holmes is our PES person. So you're always welcome to call us or email us, and we're all here to help you. If you do want an appointment with one of us, please contact us and we can help facilitate that and get that referral from your doctor to help you lose weight, improve blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, etc. All right. Well, thank you.